qualify for the Players' Championship, or at least get him closer. Glancy's the opponent on the left. Show the Sultai via Storm. Round number 15 about to be underway. It's a Deathrite Shaman here for Glancy to start off Tropical Island. For Merriam, a Gitaxian Probe. Get an idea exactly what Ben is working with. And for Ross, I think he's going to be happy with what he sees on the other side of the table. No other deck really does this.
Yes, and this is a hand of nonsense.
A Brainstorm and Abrupt Decay, a Charlotte's Agent, a Jace, and a Forest. The card he cares about the most is Brainstorm.
Yep, as that gives an opportunity for Glancy to find a counter spell or him to Torak some piece of disruption, but that hand is slow and has no defense. Perfect for Merriam.
Another nice thing when you're playing against Charlotte's Sultai, you don't really have to worry about a card like Wasteland, only 2 in the deck.
Yep.
Charlotte's Sultai typically seen as more of a mid-range deck that's pretty good at combating miracles. I think that's where it really holds its place in the metagame.
You have a lot of discard if you want it. You have Abrupt Decay for counterbalance. You have your own copies of Jace. You can have some creatures in play so you can kind of attack Jace. And I think Ross has identified a turn 1 kill. I'm guessing. Find out. We'll find out in a minute.
You don't think he's casting Dark Ritual for funsies, do you? I think he's identified a turn 1 kill because he drew ad nauseam either for the turn or off the Gitaxian Probe.
He's also got, I believe, 2 copies of Lotus Petal in hand, so he's got some mana floating when he goes for it. He's got color fixing, which can be important sometimes as well.
Yeah, now he's just going to cast ad nauseam. So, he's at 18, going to go a little bit lower. Let's go down to 17.
Oh, just as a heads up, I know I've talked about this at some length over the course of the last 3 years, 2 years, whatever it's been. Gitaxian Probe is busted. This card's totally busted. Before you had to figure out, well, am I going to cantrip and try to improve my hand to be able to beat Force of Will? Do I just put my head down and hope? Now you just know. And it adds to the storm count also.
Well, I think from this Tendrils, Ross is going to fall down to 4.
Well, I think also from here he can... well, I don't know if he can actually jumpstart it from here. Because he has no mana in the pool. And the Dark Ritual from the Lotus Petal and the Past in Flames, he can cast that. But he has no mana floating. He needs 1 more mana.
What can kill him as far as reveals? Does he have? He has a Dark Petition in the deck.
Yes. But I don't believe this hand amounts to a kill right now. With 1 more Lotus Petal, with a Lion's Eye Diamond even, I think that could be enough to get it done.
Yeah, he's short because he's short 1 spell right now.
Right.
Now, if he can cast Probe for free and then work into another spell.
The other way he can go is he can play the 2 petals at 6 spells. Ritual is 7. Gitaxian Probe is 8. Tendrils is 9. He has enough mana left over to Duress, right?
3, 4, 5. No, because
no, he has exactly 4. Exactly 4 mana, right?
Exactly 4.
Yep. So he's short in a number of different ways. 1 card.
Keep it going, Sweetness. Bang, that'll do it.
Yeah, that's just a spell that he can cast for free.
Yep. Lion's Eye Diamond, that's spell 5. Petals 6, petals 7. Probe is 8. Go down to 2. He'll draw a card. Ritual off of Petal is 9.
And then with the mana plus the Petal, that should get it done.
Indeed. That's turn 1 kill, folks. Ben Glancy, you got to play a Tropical Island and a Deathrite Shaman. Ross Merriam going to win game number 1 here over Ben Glancy. Storm very quickly up a game over Charlotte's Sultai, which means we get to look at the sideboards now. And we're going to start with Ben Glancy, who appears to have some hate for the matchup here in 3 Meddling Mages, 2 Disfigures, and then a bunch of 1-ups here in Toxic Deluge, Vanillion Click, Misdirection, Pithing Needle, Null Rod, Golgari Charm, Graftricker's Cage, Scrubland, Surgical Extraction, and an additional copy of Hymn to Torak.
I mean, Hymn to Torak, Surgical Extraction, Null Rod, Vendilion Click, and 3 copies of Meddling Mage are all huge additions in this matchup. Glancy can cut a lot of his creature removal, bring in these anti-combo cards, have a much better post-board game. On the balance, the matchup is still not favorable for him, in my opinion, because of how big of a hole he's in game 1, but at least he's making some effort in the sideboard.
Other side of things here for Ross, 3 Abrupt Decays, 3 Carpet of Flowers, 2 Xantid Swarm, 2 Chain of Vapor, 2 Dread of Night, a Massacre, an Empty the Warrens, and a Tropical Island.
I would sideboard in just the Empty the Warrens.
Okay.
I think that Abrupt Decay, it kills some stuff, but Glancy doesn't have a whole lot of stuff to kill that's relevant. I don't think he would bring in the Massacres in the dark because I don't know if he knows that Glancy has white mana and Meddling Mage in the deck. That could change for game 3 should we get there, but based on Tropical Island, Deathrite Shaman, and the cards he saw off the Gataxian Probe, it doesn't look like there's white mana in the deck. Empty the Warrens is a pretty powerful card to bring in against decks that have a lot of discard in them because you may not be able to necessarily storm up a lethal Tendrils, but you can make 10, 12 Goblins, and that's going to be good enough to win the game a reasonable percentage of the time. But I would sideboard very light here for game 2 if I was Ross.
As a result, because of the empty warrants, as you mentioned, perhaps we see Glancy bring in the Toxic Deluge?
That's
a hedge?
That's a dangerous one to bring in because that could just be a card that's completely dead if Ross is trying to kill you the other way. I would prefer to bring in the Golgari Charm, I think, if you're going to go down that road. At least it's 2 mana versus 3, and there could be other random utility that comes up.
Well, those are the options there for both players as far as sideboarding is concerned. Ben Glancy will be on the play. His goal here is to play more than one turn. What do you think?
That's been me. That's happened to me on camera before.
You've been on the receiving end?
Top 8 of a Legacy Open, game 3, got killed on turn 1.
You were playing Burn, I assume?
I had a Mountain and a Goblin Guide in play.
That's a good start.
That was a really good start. It was a really good start. He was at 18.
Pretty low.
I had a land and I think a Flame Rift for the next turn. At 12 at that point.
Probably going to kill him on turn 3 with a Fire Blast.
This is before Past in Flames, so he had to go off through ad nauseum. So what more can I do?
This is really lucky, sounds like to me.
Happens.
Black Friday sale taking place here with Star City Games. Huge savings, 4 days only. Sale's going to end tomorrow at 11:59 a.m. Eastern. But as Patrick can tell you, a lot of cool stuff going on the website.
There's a lot of great sales on sealed product, particularly sealed boxes of Battle for Zendikar. So if you're so inclined to do that, very good deals there. Also, a lot of sales for some older stuff. A lot of the Beckett graded cards, Alpha, Beta, Unlimited Power, and Dual Lands. So if you're looking to fill out your vintage deck, cube, what have you, a lot of good sales going on, both for singles and sealed product. That sale ends Monday, 11:59 a.m. Eastern Time. That is right before noon. So go to the website right now, check it out. These sales are limited time only, but a lot of cool stuff up there right now.
Game number 2 about to be underway here between Glancy and Merriam. Ross Merriam, the player you probably know best here, number 8 on our Season 4 leaderboard, looking to head back to the Players' Championship where he did make a deep run. It was a lot of fun to watch him play, especially that epic match against Reed Duke. For Merriam, this is, I don't want to say it's the year of Ross Merriam because a lot of players have had a great year here in 2015, but it's been a pretty impressive one so far.
Yeah, he's starting to transition a lot of the success that he's seen on the Open Series into Grand Prix and Pro Tours. He has been grinding really hard, both at the Open Series and the Grand Prix circuit. It looks likely, though not a lock, that he'll be rewarded with a berth to the Players' Championship. He's played in several Pro Tours this year and has really started to hit his stride as a competitive Magic player.
2 Grand Prix top 8s with a runner-up finish at Grand Prix Dallas-Fort Worth. Lost to, some guy named Shuhei Nakamura. Perhaps you're familiar. 14 of his Open Series top 8s with 2 wins. One of his wins did come this year, actually, when we were in Cleveland. So Cleveland has been a very successful city for him. 2 invitational top 8s, 1 earlier this year. And really, I feel like at the beginning of this year and at the back end of last year, really started to kind of find a stride.
Absolutely. I've been watching Ross and playing against Ross now for a couple of years. Back a couple years ago, he had a very high ceiling and a very low floor as a Magic player. He's bungled some matches and he's played some matches really beautifully. And this year, we've watched fewer and fewer of the matches get bungled.
Yeah.
So,
just seems to be consistent improvement with how he plays his matches, how he approaches the game. And not surprising to see him high up on our leaderboard here in Season 4. Won't be much of a surprise to see him back at the Players' Championship. And, I felt like given the strides he's made, the Grand Prix success, not much of a surprise now to me.
Hey, if you read his writing, he did his undergraduate work at Harvey Mudd University in California, one of the most prestigious colleges in the United States. A lot of intellectual chops there.
Yep.
Guy is no dummy. So with him putting in the work, it's really only a matter of time.
Looks like both players are going to take a mulligan here, so down to 6 they're going to go. It's always been fun for me to just kind of see. I think Ross is probably the best example. I think Brian Braun-Duin kind of fits in this camp as well. Just the evolution of a player over a handful of years.
Yeah, we've gotten to watch a lot of people, Brian Braun-Duin and Todd Anderson at the top of the list, and Ross right behind them. We've watched their improvement as a Magic player over the course of the several years on the Open Series, and those players have seen better and better Grand Prix and Pro Tour results over that span of time as well.
A lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and the results are starting to come their way now. And for Merriam, if he's able to win one of these next 2 games, it'll be another top 8 on the resume and potentially a 3rd Open Series win. But he's got stiff competition on the other side of the table. Ben Glancy, a former Open Series champion during the Treasure Cruise era in Legacy. And he'd like to make another top 8 too. His goal right now is to play more than 1 turn, though he does have a Force of Will along with a Brainstorm in hand, so perhaps the protection that he's looking for. Though he will be taking a mulligan down to 5 here. And it looks like Merriam's going to keep. This is a very difficult matchup for Charlotte Soltag.
At least post-board, he's got some weapons.
Yeah.
Game 1, it's basically just Force of Will and him to Torak, and he's only got 2 hymns. So that's not going to be enough to put up a fight very often. Here, he can slow the game down. He's got more discard. Meddling Mage can also contribute to slowing the game down. And then Liliana the Veil can become a weapon. You plus that, start attacking Ross's hand. So 5 cards is definitely not a good starting point for Glancy, but at least he has a real deck post-board as opposed to game 1 where it's very few impactful cards.
We'll see what 5 he can find. There's a Meddling Mage there. Looks like he's going to reluctantly keep. Both players are going to scry. He'll leave that card on top for Merriam. He's going to do the same. Glancy with a pretty good start with Deathrite Shaman.
I believe Meddling Mage in hand as well.
Yeah, he's got that. And so he's got the land to be able to cast Meddling Mage. Don't know what he wants to name, likely Infernal Tutor, but it's a pretty good start as Merriam's going to play a Preordain. Ross going to figure out what he wants to do with the Scry here in just a moment. Glancy's hand not particularly exciting. The Meddling Mage can buy him some time, hopefully. He's also got a Tarmogoyf over there, so you can kind of see what the plan is.
A clock backed up by Meddling Mage is an acceptable 5-card hand.
There's also a Shardless Agent in hand, too, and that could hit anything. Merriam's going to put the 2 cards to the bottom. Now he'll draw. He'll pass the turn back over to Glancy. Glancy will take a draw step. Marsh Flats, big draw there. I'm curious what he wants to play this turn. Does he want to use all of his mana for Shardless Agent? Or does he just want to cast Meddling Mage in fear of maybe a turn 2 kill?
Well, Shardless Agent has a reasonable chance of disrupting a turn 2 kill, as it can find something like Thoughtseize or Hymn to Torak.
It also could find a blank one like Deathrite Shaman and Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, it's risky.
Maybe Ben feels like I got to get a little bit lucky here anyway, give him the mulligan 5.
It's also no guarantee the Meddling Mage even does anything. Merriam could have easily boarded in something like Disfigure.
There's Bayou.
Most of Glancy's hits here are really good. It's Ancestral Visions or discard spells for the most part. It's more mana efficient this way. If he draws a land next turn, he has the ability to put Meddling Mage and Tarmogoyf onto the table.
Well, I think he's going the Shardless Agent route. But he might even be a little unsure of himself now.
Well, if he got a Bayou, the die is cast. He can't. I mean, he could cast Meddling Mage, I suppose.
Yeah,
but
via Death, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to go with Shardless. Little Cascade action. All right. 3 cards coming. That'll undo a mulligan to 5 real quick. Thoughtseize, Wasteland. Well, Ross better have a good second turn.
Yep.
Because Ben's third turn is going to be a delight. Here's a Ponder. For Ben Glancy, on the third turn, we can see Thoughtseize, Meddling Mage, Wasteland you.
Yeah.
And that might be too much to come back from.
Ross already down a card from the mulligan,
Yeah.
too, and this deck is about amassing a critical mass of resources to be able to do its thing. So those kind of 1-for-1 trades are really rough.
Merriam going to take a little bit of time here with this ponder. He's going to keep it. Lion's Eye Diamond the card. There's a Delta. He'll sacrifice that. I got a feeling Underground Sea's on the way. There's that. What we don't know is if Merriam has the tools to go off here on turn 2. We saw turn 1 kill just the last game, and we know how explosive Storm can be. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I mean, if you kept Lion's Eye Diamond off of a ponder and then start making some moves here.
It's showtime. He's reaching for the toys. There's Cabal Ritual. Lion's Eye Diamond. Spell 4. Lion's Eye Diamond, spell 5. Down to 1 black. It's going to be Infernal Tutor, hold priority, I believe. Yep. That's spell 6. Stack it. Gonna crack those Lion's Eye Diamonds. Will Merriam. We just got to figure out what he wants to crack them for. He'll add 3 red, 3 blue.
Yeah.
One black's good enough to start him up. Passing Flames, maybe?
Well, if he's doing this, then he's going for Passive Flames because he can't cast Ad Nauseam right now.
Yep.
And this should be fine, I believe. He can Dark Ritual.
I think you're right.
Infernal Tutor for Ad Nauseam. I don't know. This seems fine. This is close enough.
Yeah, I always have to check with myself.
I've been here long enough to know when it's close enough.
Spell count won't be a problem. We know that. Infernal Tutor, 4 mana left. Tendrils. That is going to do it. Ross Merriam going to win this match here over Ben Glancy, 2-0. Storm is going to take care of Charlotte Sultai. It's a tough pairing there for Glancy at the end of the tournament. And if he got to untap, I actually think he's a big favorite to win that game.
Yeah, I mean, he can cast Meddling Mage there. It's way less mana efficient. It's no guarantee that it survives, and there's no guarantee that it's even a piece of disruption.